Hello and welcome back to another part of Design Your Own Level tutorial. In the previous video what we did is we created the legs for our chair, and now what we want to do is we want to create this area over here along with its curve and along with the curve for the armrests as well. So in order for us to do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to deselect this object. I'm going to go into the top view, I'm going to hit Shift A, I'm going to add a Bezier curve, move that way, deselect it, I'm going to hit Shift A again, and I'm going to add a Bezier circle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the circle, select it on one of its corners, and I'm going to bring it down, and then the same on the other one, and then bring it up. You can see that it makes that slight curve inwards. And then we're going to select our Bezier curve here, and under the options here on the right you'll see there's a little curve option there. We're going to say bevel object, and we're going to select the Bezier circle, and then you'll see there we go. Now all that I'm going to do is just select this one and rotate it by 45 degrees, and then we have like a nice straight Bezier line. So what we can do now is I'm just going to like line this up with the chair. I'm going to rotate it and then line it up and bring it, okay, come now, there we go. Bring it up to about there, and then I'm going to scale it on the Z-axis so it's a slight bit smaller, and also do that on the X-axis. There we go. And then you just want to position it so that it kind of matches up with where you want it to be. Our legs might be a little bit long on this area, so using them as reference is not the greatest, but that's okay. Then I'm going to select one of my Bezier curves in edit mode, and we're going to then just move it. Well, let's hit E to extrude and then drag this off, and then try and rotate and see what that does. Okay, so what we're going to do here is the rotation doesn't work as well because it will actually make it slightly larger when we're busy rotating. So we want to like add our curve in. I'm going to hit E to extrude again, and let's rotate it by -90 degrees to C, and see if we can actually scale it in on the Y-axis. It doesn't allow us to. It doesn't allow us to actually make it a little bit smaller. So for now we're just going to go with this. It might make it a little bit larger. But for now that should be fine. We're just going to try and follow our line over here. So with our curve set up like so, we can do that. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Okay, that's a funny thing that it's doing over there. I think it's actually trying to turn it. That's probably why it's doing that. So that is very weird, but okay, I'm gonna go with it. And I'm just going to like try and move this all the way. We want like a back area, and then scale this up to get it round about there. And also keep in mind you can always scale this a little bit smaller later, because we eventually have to convert this into a workable mesh. So once you get your sizing and everything right, I think the best way to look at it would be to look at it in perspective mode, and then just kind of judge for yourself if that is what you need and what you want. We can adjust the resolution levels by just actually, I think it's this one. There we go. So that affects our curve resolution levels. The default was 12, so you could just adjust this to, I think about 5 or 6 should be fine. And then one for the circle over here, we're going to adjust this a little bit lower. See, there's resolution 2. Let's go with resolution 4. That looks pretty good. And I think we need to fill it completely. I think let's go back to this one. That looks okay. Well, let's not mess with it too much. This looks pretty good. What I'm going to do now is I am literally just going to go, you hit Alt-C, there we go, and then you convert mesh from curve or meta surface and text. So now if we select it, we'll see that, oh, there we go, it's actually now an editable mesh that we can use. So now if you want to go in and adjust the scaling of this part, you're more than welcome to. I think I'm just going to adjust it slightly so it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to select everything as such, and I'm going to scale it on the y-axis inward so it is smaller. There we go. And maybe it's a bit too large on the z-axis, or sorry, the x-axis, so we're going to scale that inwards like so. We're going to hit Shift-D to duplicate it. And then we just want to actually make sure it's like the same distance from the center as what that piece is over here. And that's essentially going to be our base of the chair finished, but we're going to use this a little bit more. We still need to fill in these top gaps, which is not going to matter too much right now. But what I want to do is I want to use the section that we selected to scale before. I'm going to, in edit mode, hit Shift-D to duplicate it. I'm going to hit P to separate it by selection. And then select it and move it roughly to about the center. I think exactly the center. And we're going to scale it on the x-axis. Scale X. It doesn't seem to want to scale properly because we might need to set its origin here on the left to, let's do it to the center of the mass. And let's try that again. There we go. And we're going to extrude it to something like that. Going to move that forward. So it kind of like touches over the chair, but not quite. And then we can actually then just delete these bottom pieces over here. So I'm just going to delete those. There we go. And that's essentially the back piece of our chair done. If you actually want to go look back at the chair, you'll see what I mean. That's that piece over there. So we still need to fill the gaps, but I'm not going to worry about that too much right now because it should be a fairly easy process. I think how we're going to do this is, okay, well, let's quickly center our view on this by hitting numpad/ and numpad period key, and we're just quickly going to sort this out. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to fill all of these individually. Then I'm going to hit Control R, and that's before you fill the corners over there. I'm just going to do that. And then we can fill this corner like so. And then select that one, hold Control, select that one, and then we could just like move it down. And then we have our slight curve over there. So there we go. And we can repeat the process on the top. So if you didn't follow along too well, you can just see how we're doing the top one. We're going to fill, fill, fill. Oops, I didn't select one over there. Let's just try. There we go. And fill, and lastly fill that one. Hit Control R. And then we're going to fill these corners like so. Just bear in mind that all meshes will basically be converted to triangles in Unreal Engine 4. So if you have triangles versus your quad setup here, it's not really going to matter. There we go. And then I'm just going to move this up. It's not quite smooth. Actually, I think you can bevel this out. Yeah, we can. So if you want like a completely round surface at the top, you're more than welcome to bevel it out, and you can do the same with the corners over there. We have a little bit of a larger polygon budget than what we've been using. So actually I think I'm just going to, okay, it doesn't want to work with me. I think I'm just going to bevel these corners out completely so that they're nice and round. There we go, let's do that. Alright, so that's nice and smooth. We can go out of its local view, and there we go. So you got the base of your chair all set up. That looks pretty good. We're going to follow the same process with this one over here, even though this one is slightly more polygons than what it actually needs to be. So, but we're going to go with it. So, but you can fix it up and sort out the detail later if you want to. I'm going to hit Shift D. We're going to move this to the center, hit P to separate it, tab to go into edit mode. You see its origin point, we just need to set it to the center of the mass. Going to move this up and then scale it on the x-axis and about all the way to there. And that doesn't look the greatest compared to the other one, but it should be okay. Scale it on the y-axis. We're going to scale it out a little bit more, something along the lines of that. And then we just need to repeat our fill process as we did with the other ones again. So I think I'm just going to skip through this, so I'll start recording again when it's done. Alright, there we go. So we finished that section over there. I just want to go and actually maybe scale this and bring it up like so. So it's not like a, okay, I might want to do that in wireframe mode. So it's not a completely like curved cushion there. So wireframe mode, scale on the z-axis, just move it up. And there we go, you can see it like hooks onto the chair fairly nicely. I am happy with that. And then the last thing we just need to do is actually just fill this one's gap. So from what I can see, well, let's join these two so we can change them together. From what I can see in our reference image is that it just like completely meets up at one point and then it's just flat. So let's do it like this. And I actually think if we hit fill, don't really know if that's going to, let's triangulate it. Okay, no, that doesn't quite work. So that's going to be the same process as the others. We're just going to fill the gaps as such. Just so that we can add slightly more detail where we need it. The reason why you want these curves to actually look the way that it does is it does actually prevent texture warping if you're going to use a texture on this. So I'm just going to move that out slightly. And it just gives the model, because the model is smooth shaded, it gives it a slightly smoother appearance. Okay, so actually I'm just going to select that one, delete it completely, and finish up with this one, and then just duplicate it over again. So we're going to do the same with the top piece over here. Just going to go into its localized view. Control R, and we can fill these along. And then just pull it up slightly. There we go. Go out of its localized view. We'll see what that looks like. That looks okay. Maybe we pulled it up a bit too much, so we'll do something like that. We can try and bevel it to see, but I don't think that will be necessary. Maybe a bit later. Let's try and move it sideways. We can add that additional detail. We don't require it right now. And that looks pretty good. I'm actually quite happy with the way that that came out. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate that and then move it to the side over here. so that we have like an exact duplicate of the chair on both sides. And then the armrests. Now, effectively, the armrests are going to be the exactly same process as creating this. So we can get away with duplicating this, rotating it, I think, 110 degrees, setting it up like that, and then I'm just going to delete these bottom vertices. And they are actually come out of the side of the chair, so we're going to do something like this. Just want to set its origin to the geometry or the center of the mass, and then scale it on the x-axis to make it slightly smaller. Okay, I don't understand why it made that corner over there, so I'm just going to try and, well, let's actually see where that happened. Did I select that part at one point? I think it's when I scaled it. So let's try that again. Scale on the x-axis. Doesn't seem to be doing it right now, so that looks okay. Now we just need to delete this bottom piece again. I think we deleted all the way from there. Luckily we have an undo button, so it wasn't too bad. Alright, so that looks okay. I'm happy with that. So now all that you want to do is you want to go through the same process as what you did creating these like circle items over there, because what essentially happens is that piece meets up with that, it's duplicated, and it kind of like looks like it comes into the side of the chair over there. So we can either duplicate that piece and then just copy it over to here, or I think we might have some difficulty if we want to convert this into a circle, but we can try, and I can see what happens if we, I don't believe that's going to work. No. I'm not going to be too happy if I do something like that. So let's extrude quickly like so. Go into the side view. Extrude again. I'm going to scale on the y-axis. Extrude again. Scale on y-axis. Extrude again. One more time. Scale y-axis inwards. And then extrude one last time. Scale on the y-axis inwards. Okay, so now we kind of have like a little indentation there. So I think I don't want to mess with it too much. Essentially, all that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a circle over there that's overlapping, so it actually looks like it's going through. So I'm not actually going to cut any holes or anything in there because I don't want to mess with that detail too much. So let's just fill these up quickly. Actually, to be honest, I think this might be the first time that I'm modeling an office chair like this. I don't think I've ever modeled an item like this. And for those of you that know of a better way to do this, please share in the comments. I'm always up to any form of suggestions. So there we go. And now we might just have to move it up slightly. So let's do something like that. If this goes a bit high, we can fix it later on. But actually, if we go into our perspective mode, that looks pretty good. The only thing that this looks slightly short. That's the only thing, my only critique that I have at the moment is that this piece over here and this piece over here, that actually looks slightly short. So what I'm going to do is just drag it out. I'm going to add 3 loop cuts so it adds additional detail. and then do the same with this one over here. I'm just going to grab it out and then add 3 loop cuts just for the additional detail, just so we can keep like a uniform look. And delete that one again, and then just duplicate this one and move it over. There we go. Alright, so the look of the chair is starting to come along. I'm starting to like it. So all that I want to do is I actually want to recreate that piece over there as well. So just going to the side view, we're literally just going to duplicate this piece. Shift D. I'm going to grab it and move it all the way over there. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to delete those faces. And I'm going to join these together. So we can actually just look at the bottom. Yeah, we literally just going to fill the gaps again. So another lengthy process. I'm going to skip through this, so be back when it's done. Alright, so that's done, that's filled up. We can just go into the side view and then just reposition it. Okay, you might want to do that in wireframe mode. Keep forgetting to do that, so sorry about that. Alright, and there we go. And well, okay, I don't understand why that happened, but let's just move that back and do the same with this one. Unexplainable things that happen every now and then, but that's okay. So then one last thing, I want to move this slightly closer so it kind of like goes into the side of the chair. It doesn't have to go in all the way, so it depends on you. Shift D, I'm going to duplicate it, move it over to this side over here. And then this one, actually, I want to scale this up on the Z-axis, so that it is actually a bit more of a cushion than just like a little piece over there. And I think that's our office chair completely done for the modeling part of it. So you can see it looks pretty good. The only parts that I have any real critique about is the leg piece, which I'm not too happy about. And I just need to add one more detail. I need to add a circle or cylinder that goes through here, and we can quickly, just to finalize this, I'm going to add a mesh. Let's do a cylinder. I'm going to add 12 sides to it, I think should be enough. Rotate it 90 degrees, drag it to where our area over here is, and then we're just going to scale it down. Maybe scale it up to around about there. Going to the front view, see where we want to position it, and then I'm just going to kind of like put it over there. We can push it all the way through if we want. I'm getting some strange artifacts. It's actually because I think I might have just made a few mistakes with my moving process. I think that should sort it out. Okay, there we go. So we do it for that section over there, and we can duplicate it and move it to the top section over there as well. Just make sure we center it a little bit better. And we can bevel it if we want to give it like a round edge. I don't believe we'll need that. So I'm just going to select both of these. It just stops. Okay, it just doesn't want to stop selecting that one. So there we go. Shift D. Move it to the side. And then just inwards slightly. And for some reason it moved that part again. Okay, So I'm just going to make sure that that part isn't selected, and I'm just going to move it over. Okay, hopefully that will be the last time that I need to move that part. So there we go. I think that's our office chair completely done. You can still fool around with it. I might want to tweak these and make them slightly smaller. They do look a little bit too large to be over there. So we got our nice curve in. Our back piece sits a little bit kind of on the same way. The only thing that we might want to do is we want to put in little cushions for the armrests, but that will be fairly easy process to do. It'll just be the same. We can select like a section over here, copy it, move it up, and then just fill it and scale it as we did with the other cushions over there. But for all purposes that we want to use it for, our chair is effectively done. I am done with this video, so in the next video what we'll do is we'll get to UV mapping, and then we'll just import it into Unreal and start with the setting up of the materials. So if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, you can leave a dislike. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.